Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we're going to be diving deeper into the David Sills defamation lawsuit. And this is a lawsuit against the SBC who labeled this man a sexual abuser. They did so not only in multiple occasions, but also the messengers of the Southern Baptist Convention also labeled him an abuser. So if you were a messenger who voted on Resolution 6 last year, you should be sued as well. But he only listed 11 defendants, and that's that. So we're going to dive into an article by Baptist News Global, which is really just a hit piece on various players in the game. Some of those players are Megan Basham. Some of those players are Tom Buck, Tom Ascol. I'm not confusing the two this time. And it really just sticks up for a religion news service reporter, Bob Smietana. Don't know how to pronounce his name. I've never heard it out loud, so give me a little bit of a break there. I get a little George W. Bush with pronunciation sometimes. So anyway, this is Baptist News Global and Mark Wingfield picking up where the last article left off because, they're celebrating the fact that they got to break this story. And you're seeing a lot of Christian news outlets really just hit this issue, except for Baptist Press. Baptist Press, which is, I believe, an entity owned by the SBC Executive Committee, is very silent on this major story in the Baptist world. But otherwise, RNS has it. Christianity or Compromise Today has covered it. Christian Post, I don't believe, has covered it. And then even church leaders also syndicated RNS. And of course, we got this. And we got the good reporters out there at Evangelical Dark Web. I also like Protestia. They covered this as well. So, again, this is a major story. This is an article that focuses on a not significant portion of the lawsuit that I guess was factually incorrect on who an email from Lyle was to. However, if the statement by Lyle is false, she's still liable for the statement, even if they misapplied who the statement was sent to in the initial court filing. I don't see this as a substantive issue because if the statement's libelous, it's still libel. So that's what this article is about, but you'd think that this article is about Sills' lawsuit misrepresents a piece of evidence, and that error got highlighted by Ascol and Basham, which I'm not sure how true that really is, but this article is really a hit piece on these people on the latter, so it's pretty pathetic to see, which is why we're talking about that. So Tom Ascol apparently just tweeted, wow, how did Bob Smietana avoid being named in the lawsuit if the claims in the suit are true? Then would appear that he is as culpable as any of the other defendants, which, who knows, maybe he is capable or culpable. So I do want to say one thing. First, I do want to correct myself. I said that one of the defendants was the one who fired David Sills. That was untrue. Geiger was Lyle's boss, not Sills' boss. So I want to correct that off the record. Second, in Alabama, Roy Moore, you might remember how he was, we say Brett Kavanaugh, but Brett Kavanaugh really got the Roy Moore treatment of a late surprise scandal being thrusted in, sex abuse scandal being thrusted upon you that was ultimately unfounded. He won a defamation suit over those claims, multi-million-dollar suit. He won that in Alabama, of course, earlier this year. So the precedent is set that Alabama is definitely the state where you want to have this lawsuit. Since Virginia is not an option, that's where Johnny Depp won his lawsuit. So anyway, the article says, after BNG reported on the Sills lawsuit, Ascol tweeted, I already read the tweet, to which Basham replied, note, Religion News Service reported that Sills admitted to abuse, though Sills told me through an intermediary that RNS also did not reach out to him before that story was published, and he never admitted to anything like this. Basham also tweeted a link to the BNG story, which with the comment, "I've read David/Mary Sills filing against SBC guideposts and a number of SBC leaders. Refresher, Sills was a man most prominently named in the as abuser in report. Filing claims guideposts never interviewed or even contacted him before publicly naming him a predator." So this is a hit piece on Megan Basham. It's trying to like character assassinate her for doing reporting. I believe later in the article it says that she fancies herself a journalist, but and she works for the Daily Wire, so she's downstream from us. Like, this article treats Megan Basham as the first one to poke holes in the Jennifer Lyle narrative. It's like, no, she's just the largest voice to do it, and I'm not butthurt about that. I am grateful for that. I mean, Megan Basham is taking information from upstream sources like us and broadcasting it to a larger interested audience over at the Daily Wire and on Twitter. I don't begrudge that whatsoever. Ascol, Buck, and Basham are not newcomers to critiquing Lyle or Smetana. Smetana is a hack. He's a liberal. He gets syndicated by a bunch of other liberal outlets. No respect for that guy, just saying. Ascol is a Florida pastor who leads Founders Ministry, a group of Southern Baptist Calvinists. He unsuccessfully ran for SBC presidency in June. That he did. Buck is an East Texas pastor who shares Ascol's beliefs and is aggressive on Twitter in spreading his commentaries and accusations. Wow, that's definitely a way to put it. I mean, Tom Buck has been going hard on the issue of his wife's draft leak, or Karen Gate, as I called it back in, over 6 months ago. He went hard on that issue, and is probably still going hard on that issue. I don't follow Tom Buck on Twitter, but he's probably still going hard on that issue. So he's aggressive. He's aggressive. Basham is a conservative writer for Daily Wire website, which describes itself as a countercultural news outlet for news, opinion, and entertainment. You know, this website is trying to act like it's bigger than the Daily Wire, and it's not. I mean, I haven't checked the scores on the website rankings, but I'm pretty sure it's way smaller than the Daily Wire. I mean, the Daily Wire is a 9-figure business. Like it or hate it. In June, Basham launched a full-force assault against Lyle's credibility with an article titled "Southern Baptist Me Too Movement," published on the first day of the SBC annual meeting, which is a pretty based time to do it. Like, excellent timing on her for doing that. Basham says whatever number of actual abuse cases may have been found in the SBC, they represent a small percentage as to be anything but a crisis. And she's right about that. She actually is right about that, because the Sex Abuse Task Force report didn't find any new sex abuse. They didn't find anything. They revealed the Johnny Hunt thing, which is a very dubious account that I don't necessarily buy, and it raises other issues, like why would a dude have a handshake deal with a pastor that molested his wife? That doesn't make sense to me. Number of things in that story don't hold up, and they wouldn't hold up in court either. But anyway, like I said, Megan Basham was not the first person to attack Jennifer Lyle's credibility. I know I was higher up on the list in being first. I don't know who was the first, because I'm pretty sure initially when this story broke out, like in 2019 or whatever, people knew at the time that this was crap. They knew at the time that Jennifer Lyle was a liar. They knew at the time that she was pulling an Amber Heard. It was pretty obvious because her story isn't actually accusing anyone of sex abuse. It clearly, on the face of it, it was a consensual relationship. The bulk of the article picks apart, this is Megan Basham's article, picks apart Lyle's assertion that she was held emotionally captive in an abusive relationship with Lyle or with Sills over a period of years, a sexual relationship Lyle insists was not consensual. Now, again, the Sills lawsuit maintains that this was not a sexual relationship. That is a pretty interesting detail. I want this trial to be. I want this trial to be broadcasted. I want to see this cross-examination. I don't care how sensitive it is. It needs to be viewed in the public square. Basham questions Lyle's description of the events, her claims to have reported the abuse to police, and her ability to enlist others to corroborate her story. Then Basham quotes 3 male friends of Lyle's alleged abuser, who all say they can't imagine him behaving the way Lyle has described. So again, the police reporting, pretty easy to verify. And I believe, if I remember at the time, Megan Basham pointed out the fact that there wasn't really much evidence of that. And the timeline was contrary. I believe there was also an issue on the timeline. The issue caught fire on Twitter, where critics of SBC leadership and of the sexual abuse study picked it up, prompting retweets and commentary. That in turn led Smitana to write the story titled, "When Abuse Victims Are Adults, They Are Often Treated as Sinners, Threats to Churches," explaining the attack on Lyle. And again, I did a similar video article at the time titled something about circling the wagons for Jennifer Lyle. The SBC has so much riding on her abuse narrative because, they need her to be an abuse victim. So the people at this this email, the statement that was made in the lawsuit was actually made to was the Midwest Christian Outreach Group, which includes Ron Hensel, who's a mutual Twitter follower of mine. He did an interview, I believe, with Jennifer Lyle. I did an article on that. It was a video on YouTube, but they pulled that for copyright because they weren't happy about how that got leaked onto YouTube. But I did an article on that at the time too. And the interview just blows holes in the Lyle case. It blows holes in her narrative. And hopefully I get that article linked somewhere. But it's just, this was such a sad narrative for so many people to fall for. It really was. BNG has confirmed that Midwest Christian Outreach was working with Ascol, Buck, and Basham in the background into 2022. The group maintained and shared online file of their correspondence. I don't know how verifiably true that is. Oh, okay, it goes into the video that was leaked. It talks about that. Where's the part where it the way it talks about Ron Hensel is just hilarious. Or maybe it wasn't Ron Hensel, but it's like, this trying to find it. So Lyle was not writing to a professional journalist with a national news organization. She was writing to 2 bloggers who run a small nonprofit that investigates cults and preaches against the Enneagram. It's like, wow, that's one way to attack Midwest Christian Outreach. They attack the Enneagram. Like, these people are, weird fundies. And that's kind of the tone of this article. So, and then Lyle has a statement that was given to Bob Smitana. "I do not need to be under oath to tell the truth, and there are no lies that will shake my certainty about what is true. This is why the most egregious, cruel lies do not leave me without hope when those asserting them are reckless enough to do so in a form that not only allows my witness, but provides a clear means by which it will be formally provided. And again, this is, you're fluffing up, you're showing confidence, but let's be real, this will not end well for her. She's going to get Amber Hearded, and a lot's going to get exposed. The corruption in the SBC is going to get exposed. So we're going to keep watching this story. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the Evangelical Dark Web. That is the least you can do. And if you want to support this kind of content, you can subscribe to the newsletter. That's completely free, or the Telegram. That's completely free. Or you can become a paid member at evangelicaldarkweb.org. It's a Patreon-like system. We built our own Patreon, so they can't kick us off. And that's, again, as little as $5 a month. But all that's linked in the description below. Have a blessed day. We will catch you on the next one.